This is Gemara in Sotah Daf Yomi, Baruch Hashem. Another incredibly exciting day in the world of Daf Yomi, as B'siyata Dishmaya will be concluding this incredible Maseches Sotah. What a great way to prepare for Shavuos. And of course, the general announcement, invite a friend. Why not? Let's learn getting together Chizik as we enter Shavuos. And announcement number 2 is a reminder that the Shiurim for Av, most of the Shiurim for Tammuz, have already been recorded. The Shiurim for Av are going to be recorded very shortly. Anyone that would like to partner, share in Torah, please be in touch. And finally, Torah Anytime is having their incredible fundraiser. 1 quarter for an hour of learning. They're selling hours of learning, 12 million hours of learning. Please check it out. Most of us learn together daily on Torah Anytime's platform. Of course, these shiurim are also on podcast and YouTube, but still the bulk of our listeners are together with us in Torah Anytime. So everyone, please partner together and let's buy some hours of Torah. But for now, we pick it up about 15 lines from the bottom of Mem Chesem Beis. The first word in the line is V'noifes tzufim. Continuing that which happens at the Zman of the Churban Bayis Sheni, that was when he batla V'noifes tzufim. Says the Gemara, "My noifes tzufim Amar Rav." What is noifes tzufim? Rav says, "Soiles shetzafa." Excuse me. Al gabe napam, the soiles, the flour that floats on top of the nap, on top of the sifter. It's a thick geshmak of flour. V'daima, and this flour is similar leisa to dosh and lelusha b'dvash v'shemen, that is mixed together, kneaded with honey and oil. V'levi amar shteki karas and advakus betanor. You know what noifes tzufim are? When you take 2 loaves of bread and you stick them on the 2 walls of the oven, v'toifachas ubayis hachmegias uluzu, and they grow so much until they meet at the middle. Incredible powers of the bread. B'shas the Beis Hamikdash are bottled with the destruction of the Beis Hamikdash. Rishub and Levi amar zed devash haba minat sifim. This is dvash. This is honey that comes from Sipia, which are the mountains. My mashma. Where do we see this? The Targum Rav Sheshes Kama the nitzin the briyais of shatin b'roimei olma, like the bees that sand and fly around the heights of the world. Umasyon dovsha me isva tura, and bring honey from the mountains, vegetation. We continue to also, once we're on the topic of honey, we continue learning in the Mishnah. Kol hanitzuk tar, any nitzuk, any stream that flows from a tar keli into a tamei keli is tar. Chutz midvash zifim vatzafichim, except for thick liquids like honey, zifim, and tzapichim. My zifin, asked the Gemara, Amr Rav Yechlan, 8 lines to the bottom, Devash of Zifin boy. This is Devash that you could dilute it. Rish Lakish Amar, Al Shem Bekaima, it's honey from the place called Zifim Kedechsev. Zif Vitelem Uba'alois Kirtz V'Davarat Aimer. We find similarly, Beba Zifim, says the Pasik, when the Zifin come, by Yomru L'Shal Aloi David, is David not hiding amongst us? So we're seeing that's the name of a place. My Zifin, Amar Rav Yechlan, B'nei Adam, HaMizayfin Divreim. These are people that are Mizayef. They falsify their words. Rav Elazar Amar, Al Shem Mekayim K'tichsev, V'Zifatelem Uba'alos. We continue 4 lines from the bottom of the Amid. Upasku Anshe Amana. And the people of Amana seized. Amar Rav Yitzchak, who are these people? Adam. Shein ma'aminim ba'Kadosh Baruch Hu. They believe in Hashem. The Tan Rav Elazar Agadolai Merkol Mishesh Loi Pas B'Saloi. Whoever has bread in his basket, Vaymer, and he says, Ba'yoichal L'machar. What am I going to eat tomorrow? Einoi Elam Mekatene Amana. He's of small faith. And anyone who's been learning Chayvus Al-Vavais with the incredible Hachsteak program with us daily, we know that we just spoke about extensively this idea of people wanting more and more and having security upon security and not being content with that which they have. What is the meaning of the pasuk? Kibaz liyom katanois, kibaz liyom kitanois. For they are buzz, they're disgusting on the day, they're derisive on the day of the small things. What does this mean? Mi garam l'sadikim, she is a boys bizu shulchanan, la'asid lavai, who causes the sadikim that the table should be depleted in the next world. Katunos shaya bahem, it is the katunos, it's the smallness. Why? So the lack of emunah is what causes us to lose out of the world to come. Rav Amar Ilu Kitani B'nei Rishi Yisrael, the children of the children, the Kitane, the sons of the Rishi Yisrael. That what, as we turn over to Mem Zayin Amar Aleph, Shemizvazvizin Din Avihem, that they rend their father's a sentence. They're the ones that caused their father to unfortunately go to the wrong place. As Rashi says, they make their father be judged. I'm in the fun of how do the children aid their parents? Since anyways, you're going to cause them to be paid back in the next world. Why do you blunt their teeth by having their children die in their childhood? So even though Hashem, of course, is doing this to let them not have such a terrible loss of lava, that is what causes them, unfortunately, to be rendered their din. Amar Rav Ilai Bar Barachia, fourth line, Memtesa and Aleph Ilmalei Tvilasei Shal David. And now once we spoke about one, this seems to be pretty random. Now what this is doing here, we'll see in a moment. So says the Gemara, and actually Mefarshim ask, what's this doing here? Says the Gemara, Amar Rav Ilai Bar Barachia, Ilmalei Tvilasei Shal David Ayikol Yisrael Meichei Revav. Not for the tefillah of David HaMelech, davening that Klal Yisrael should have parnasa, Klal Yisrael would all have no money and be meichei revav, selling disgusting, as Rashi says, davar malus, chilev shuman, the garbage that gets stuck on the beged. That's what Klal Yisrael would have been Isaac, and they'd be aniyim. Shenemar, as the pasuk says about David HaMelech, Shisa Hashem Meiret Lohem, give them Hashem. So the tefillah of David helped whom? Helped the aniyim. Comes on the tefillah of Chavakuk. Helps the Talmidei Chachamim. If not for his tefillah, two Talmidei Chachamim will have to be covered by one cloak. Va'iskim ba'Torah shenemar Shem Shamati Shemecha Yiraisi Hashem Ba'alecha B'kerev Shnayim Chayehu. I'll take me B'kerev Shnayim Ela B'kiro of Shnayim. The Chavakuk davening that if not for his tefillah, what would happen? Talmidei Chacham will have absolutely no money, and they'd have to cover themselves. Two people sharing one blanket, one shirt. The first one lines are Bar Brachia, 12 lines down. Shnei Talmidei Chachamim Ha'mahalchin Ba'derech V'yimineihem Divrei Torah. Two Talmidei Chachamim are traveling and they don't have Divrei Torah amongst them. Re'oyen li saref. They should be burnt up, Rachmana litzlan, ba'esh with fire. Shenemar v'yehema holchin holoich v'daver v'hinei recha v'esh. And there's a chariot of fire v'goymer. So Taima dika dibur. If they speak Torah, then it saves them. Holek dibur re'oyen li saref. We darshan the pasuk that if there's no dibur, then they're roi to be burnt up. V'amar Rav Elai bar Barachia, continues the Gemara. V'amar Rav Elai bar Barachia, Shnei Talmidei Chachamim Adarim B'Yarachas V'Noich Inzel Zeh B'Halacha. You have two Talmidei Chachamim that live in one city, and yet they can't come to terms together with halacha. Echon Meis, one is going to die, Rachmana litzlan, V'Chagoyla, and one's going to be exiled from the city. Shenemar, Lo Shama Reitzech Sheyitzchak Esrei Eyu B'Vlidas. What does it mean that they killed their friend B'Vlidas? V'Indas Ela Torah. Shenemar Nidmu Ami B'Vlidas. Amar Rav Yehuda Bar Rav Chia called Ami Chacham Ha'izek B'Torah Mitoy Chatzchak. Any type of Chacham that learns Torah Mitoy Chatzchak when it's difficult, or more literally, when they have no money, tfilasai nishmas. What's going to happen is tefillah will be heard. Shenemar ki im b'tzion yoshev Yushalayim bacha lo yisivcha chanoin yechanich lekol zakecha kimashma'oi. So explains the Gemara, kisham asai anach, Uksiv basrei, and what do the psukim continue? V'nasal Hashem lachem, lechem sar, umayim lochatz. We see that when it's a situation of lechem sar and mayim lochatz, simple bread and smelly water, that's when the tefillah of the Talmud Chacham is heard. And Rav Avua Amar says, Rav Avua Amar masbiyin oisai miziv hashchina. Such a Talmud Chacham is satiated from where? Straight from the radiance of the Shechina itself. Shnemar vayenecha rois es ma'yirecha. Rav Acha bar Chanina Amar avina pargud nigal ninal b'fan of the pargud, the partition is not closed in front of him. Shnemar vayechanech oid ma'yirecha. And of course, mitoich adchak, the pashim shal, like we said, is mitoich oini, from poverty, but it also means that in all situations, even in pressing, in difficult situations, when one is not blown away by the whims of his life, but rather hold strong and learn Torah in all situations, such a person's tefillos are answered. We continue. The Gemara says about 20 lines from the bottom. The two Dachash Bagoimer Misham Rav Yeshua. There's no day without a curse. Amar Rava b'chol yoim v'yoim. Meru b'kol asim shechaver. Each day the curse gets greater than the day before. Shenemar. The pasuk in the Teichel last week's parsha. Baboikar. Taimar mi yitein erov. Well, now not really the Teichel last week's parsha. This Teichel in the Varim. Hey, Boiker, what does it mean that you're worried for the next morning? That what? The night you're asking for the next morning? How do you know the next morning's going to be better? It means the morning that passed. You're wishing, even though it's so bad, you're wishing for previous evils because it wasn't as bad. Says the Gemara. So if every day gets worse, so how's the world still existing? Says the Gemara, something that we learned recently in Dirshu Mishnah Brura. Akedusha Desidra. You know what sustains the world? The world is sustained from the Kedusha Desidra, Ve'ayehei Shmei Rabbo Dekarata. And the Yehei Shmei Rabbo that is studied after Ashir is said, Shenemar Eretz Afsa, Kamay Oifel Salamois, V'loi Sidarim, Hayesh Sidarim, Taifia May Oifel, then it will come out of the Oifel, come out of the darkness. The incredible importance of the Kedusha Desidra, the Kedusha by Uvalat Sion, and of course, of the Amen Yeshmei Rabba. Continues the Gemara, quoting the Mishnah, 10 lines from the white lines. What happens by the Chorba? There's no longer Tal as a blessing, and the time of the Peiros has decreased. Tani Rav Shimon Elazar Omer, Tahira Batla, Tahira is Mevatel Tam V'Reach. Tahira Batel Tam V'Reach. When there's no longer Tahira, there's no longer taste and fragrance. Ma'aser, the lack of adhering to the lachas of Ma'aser. Bitel Shemen Dag, Shuman Dagon. No longer was there the very thick taste in the grain. Ravuna Ashrach Tumrasa de Chaninus. Ravuna found a creamy date. Shakla Karachle took it, he wrapped it up in Sudara in his handkerchief. Also Rabba Berei. Rabba's son comes. Amalei Marechna Recha de Chanunusa. So Rabba's son was pure. Rabba's son was still able to smell the wonderful fragrance of the date. Amalei B'nei Tahira Yeshbecha. You must be tar if you still could smell the smell of this great Yavanilei. He gave him the date. So as he gave him the date, Abba takes it, and then what happens? His son comes. He gives it to his son. You're making my teeth dull. I gave you something good and you're going to give it away to your kid. The father has mercy on the son, but the son ultimately has mercy on his son. Bar Yaakov was for Rav Yaakov, the son of his daughter. He took care of him. When he grew up, he says, okay. He told the grandson, after he raised him for all these years, give him a cup of water. Amar Allah. He said, "Lo, lav, I'm not. Give lav a brich. No, I'm not your son. I don't have to give it to you." Rabbi bar brata chana. This is what people say: raise me, but I'm not your son, the son of your daughter. We see over here that a grandson doesn't have the same reverence like a child itself. And we continue with the Mishnah. on the bottom of Memtes Amid Aleph with a list of decrees, list of the Gezeros that occurred at the time of the Bayis Sheni. Be'pomois shel Espainis, during Vespasian's campaign, while he was conquering Gazru al-Ataras Chasanim, they made a Gezerah that no longer should the Chasan wear these specific Atarai, specific wreaths, Ba'al-Iras, and as well on Iras. Be'pomois shel Titis, Gazru al, these are dinim we learned about in Ksubis, Gazru al-Ataras Kalois, and the Shlomo Radin has been no Yavanish should teach a kid Greek. But Pumas Achrain in the final Pumas, in the final campaign of the Goyim against Klai at the Chorban, causes let's say Kalaba Apiri and the Kalash not go out in her canopy chair b'toy chayir in the city. Rabbi Seinu Atiro shetei Kalaba Apiri and b'toy chayir, and eventually the Rabbanan allowed this. Misha Meir Meir and Rameir was died. Bala Shalmei Mishalim. We lost those who say over parables. Misha Meir Ben Azai. Bala Hashakdanim. The Shakdanim. Those who learn b'shakdos. Those who learn with great ambalos was Batal. Misha Meir Ben Zayma. Bala Darshanim. Misha Meir Kiva. Bala Kavai Tayra. Misha Meir Chanina Ben Daisa. Bala Anshemai. So Misha Meir Yesi Katanasa. Paska Chasidim. Lamanei Kishma Katanasa. Why is it called Yesi Katanasa? Shay Katanasa. Shal Chasidim use the smallest. Misha Meir Yechlam in Zakai, Batal Ziva Chachma, the beauty of wisdom. Mishmesa B'Gimlil Hazakin, Bala Kavet Taira, Umesa Taira Pishas Mishmesa B'Shmal Ben Pavi, Bala Ziva Kahuna, the readings of the Kahuna, Mishmesa Rebbe, Batal Anav of Yeraschit. Tanu Rabbana, and some learn that this is part of the Gemara, some learn that this is still part of the Mishnah. Reb Pinchas Ben Yair Oimer, 3 lines from the end of Memtes Amid Aleph, Mishachar Beis HaMikdash. Boisha Chaverim. What happened? The Beis Mikdash was destroyed. The Chaverim were embarrassed. Ubnei Chayrin. Chaverim bnei Chayrin. V'chavu Raishan. And their heads were covered. V'nidal Dilu Anshe Maisa. And the people of Maisa became poor. V'gavru Balezer. And the strong people increased. Ubalei Lashain. And those who talk rechilos, they use their tongues. Vein darishin v'vakish vein shayel al milah nulishan alvinu shabashamayim. There's no one to seek, no one to search, and no one who inquired. So who can we rely upon? Only our Father in heaven. Rav Elazar Gadol Oimer Miyashachar Rabbi Samigdash. Last line of Memtes Amid Aleph. Sharu Chachimai Lemahave Kasbirai. The scholars, the Chachamim, again, to be like the Rabbeim in the yeshivas. Sabrai Chazonai, and the Rabbeim like those who take care of the shuls. Chaznai Kama, like the regular people. Dara Vama Dara, and the regular commoners. Osla, they went as we turn over to Memtes Amid Beis. Osla Vidaldala, they went and they slowly became more and more poor, more and more, not poor in money, but poor in their avodah, poor in their chachma. Continues the Mishnah. Vein shoyel, vein bavakesh. There's no one to ask, and there's no one that inquires anymore. Continues the Mishnah. Memtes Amid Beis of Almi Yeshli Shayin Alvinu Shevashamayim. Continues the Mishnah. Be'ikvois Mishicha Chutzba Yaski. A famous line at the time of the Ikvos of the Mishicha, which of course we're in as we're about to herald in the Mashiach Amir Hashem. Chutzba Yasi. Chutzba is going to increase. Ve'yoiker Yamir, and the cost of life is going to go up. The vine will have a lot of fruit, yet wine is going to be expensive. The government is going to turn to minus, and there's going to be another thing to do. There's going to be meeting places of the Chachamim. Instead of being used for the Chachamim, they're going to be used for Znos. And the Galil will be destroyed. And the Gavlon will be desolate. And the people of Gavul will go around from city to city, and they'll have nowhere to rest. And what's going to happen? And the wisdom of the Seifrim, those who write Sifrei Stam, will be decayed. And those who fear sin will be despised. And truth will be lacking. The young in front of the old, in front of the Zekenim, will make them embarrassed. The elders will stand and make Ketanim for the Ketanim. Ben Minavelav, a son will make fun of his father. Bas kama b'ima, a daughter will stand in front of the mother. Kala b'chamasa, a daughter in front of the father-in-law. Oive ish anshe beisai, a man's enemies, the people of his household. Pnei adar k'pnei akelev, the face of the dar is like the face of a dog. Haben eino mitbayesh mi'aviv, a son is unembarrassed from his father. Rama yesh lanu lishayin alavinu shabashamayim. So it says the Gemara about 12 lines down, whether this is the Gemara, whether this is the continuation of the Brisa that started on Amar Aleph. Amar Raf, Lo Yishanu al Shloi Melech v'Gafres. With regard to the wreaths of the Chasanim, this is only of salt and sulfur, of shal hadas, shal vered, but wreaths of hadas, of myrtles and vered of roses, mutter, that is allowed. Shmuel argues, and Shmuel says, no, av shal hadas, shal vered, also, even those are forbidden, shal kanim, shal chilois, those are mutter, reeds and sedges. And a third opinion, v'levi amar, av shal kinim, shal chilos is aser, v'chein dan alevi masnita, av shal kinim, shal chilos aser. So Levi saying everything's aser, Shmuel allowing kinas v'chilos, and Rav allowing hadas and vered. Continues the Gemara quoting the Mishnah of Ali Eros was batal my Eros Amar Lazar Tavlo dechad puma. You know what a Eros is? A bell with one clapper. Rabbi Ravuna Avaleila Brei Tanbura. He made for him a tambura. What's a tambura? A tambourine. You know, a bell with a clapper. Also avua tavre. So what happened? Ravuna was the father came. He smashed it. Amar lei michlaf betavla dechad puma. Why? The reason why he smashed it, because he said this tambourine, people might think is similar to a clapper, zil avid puma de chatzva, and therefore if we allow a tambourine, people are going to think that you also had to use this eros. So zil avid puma de chatzva, so go make a drum over the mouth of an urn, or a puma de kapiza, or across the mouth of a pitcher. Meaning, he's saying you can have drums, you just can't have this tambourine, which resembles this bell with a clapper. Bepomel shaltitos, which of course sounds like music, etc. Says the Gemara, meaning that's what was made aser at the Zman of the Chorban Bayis. Befum shaltitis kazal teres kalos, maya teres kalos. What was the teres kalos that they said he can no longer have? Amar Rabbi Chanan Rabbi Yechanan, ear shel zav, a certain piece of jewelry in ear shel zav had a picture of Yerushalayim engraved upon it. Tani nami hachi, as there was kalos ear shel zav. Avalaisa, I saw kippah shel milas. You can't make the kala, the ear shel zav. So what can you make her? A kippah, a hat, a yarmulke, a beanie of milas, of wool. Tana afal kippahs chasanim gazu. They even made exer on the chuppahs chasanim. My chuppahs chasanim zohuras umezuhavos. Clothing with have gold trimmings on it. Tana mihachi. Eluhein chuppahs chasanim zohuras amuzhavos. Aval oisa papirios v'toila bakol masha yirtza. But what are you allowed to make? You're allowed to make papirios, allowed to make a lattice type of garment and hang on it whatever you want. And again, these are all the different gzeras, all the things that were diminishing due to the lack of Beis HaMikdash. 6 lines from the white lines continues the Gemara of Shlayamid. Bas Yevanis and Rabbanim Kshetzar Malchei Beis Chashmonai. When the Chashmonaim kings came and fought zells at one another. Your Horkinis mibachos v'Istrablis mibefnim. Horkinis was outside Yerushalayim, Istrablis was inside. V'chol yayim v'yayim. Hayim mishal shlem dinarim bekupo. U'malem tamid. And every day they would send over a dinar over the wall. And they would send back over an animal over the carbon tamid. Hayisham sakin echad sheyamakir. B'chach laz Yevanis laz. There was a certain type of chacham who understood Greek wisdom. Laz lahem b'chachma Yevanis. He spoke to them in Greek. Amar lahem kol zman she'iskim ba'avoida ein nimsarim b'yedchem. So this old man told the Yevanim, if you keep on allowing them to have their karban tamid, you're never going to be able to defeat Klal Yisrael. Because as long as we have the Avodah, we'll never lose. Lamach the next day, Shosham Dinarim Bekupa, he sent over the money, and V'halu lehem Chazir Rachman al-Itzlan, and the second wide line, and the Goyim gave us a pig. What happened as the pig is being pulled back over the wall? What happened once the pig reaches half of the wall's height? Noat Siparnav, the pig stuck its hoofs in the wall. Nizdazei Eretz Yisrael Arba Me'oz Parsa. Eretz Yisrael shook for 400 parsa as the Chazir is digging its nails into the Chaimas Yushalayim. Isa Shah, that moment, Amru, they said, Arur Adam Sheikad Chazirim, number one. Varadim Shamal Lebianai Chachmas Yavanis. We see that terrible that he able to communicate with the Goyim caused Klal Yisrael's downfall. V'laisa Shadna Shaninu. Regarding that year, we're taught Ma'isa Uba Omer Mi Gagais Srifim. It happened that the Omer was brought from Gagais Srifim Mishtei Alechem Mi Bakas Ayin Soiker, and the Shtei Alechem on Shavuos was brought from the valley of Seicher. Says the Gemara, Eini, is it really true that you can't teach Greek? V'amar Rebbe, Beretz Yisrael Lashon Sursi Lama. Says Rebbe in Eretz Yisrael, why do they speak Sursi? Ella, rather, Lashon HaKodesh, Lashon Yavanis. So one of the languages the Rebbe said they could learn was Lashon HaKodesh Yavanis. V'amar Rebbe Yosef, Bavel, Lashon Arami Lama. Eloi Lashon HaKodesh Lashon Parsi. Lashon Yavanis L'chod. So answers the Gemara, L'shoin Yavanis L'chod, the Chachmas Yavanis L'chod. Though it's not the language that's the problem, it's the wisdom of the Yavanis. So Chacham Yavanis Mi Asira. So continues asking the Gemara, is this true that Chacham Yavanis is also Rav Amar Rav Yudam Shmuel? Mishum Rashbag, my dech say, what is the meaning of the pasuk? Eini Alolol Nashim Mikol Benois Iri Elef Yuladim Hayav Beis Abba. There were 500 children. Chamish Mea Islam Du Torah. Chamish Mea Islam Du Chach was Yavanis. Lein Shai Mem Elani Kan Ubenachi Abba Basi. I am my father's, and the son of my father Rav Gamliel is left. So we have 500 kids who are studying Greek wisdom under Rav Gamliel. So how are you telling me that you can't learn Greek? Rav Gamliel is teaching it. Says the Gemara, Shaini shall base Rav Gamliel. Rav Gamliel is different. We're smack in the middle of the very wide lines. First one line is based Rav Gamliel. The Krev and the Malchus they were very close to the kingdom, to the Malchus. They needed to know the Greek wisdom. Tanya, Mispar Koimi, Arezem Midarke, Amayri, Avtolius ben Ruvain. He allowed them to cut his hair in the Koimi style. Why? Shukar of the Malchus, they had to appear presentable to the king. So Gemara is concluding that really we can't learn Chachmas Yavanis, but there was a special dispensation that was made for Rabbi Gamliel because they were Kar of the Malchus. And the Gemara continues, B'pomas Acharoyin, Kazu Shaloteze Kalabah Perion, and they made Xera that the Kala Shanakwa and the canopy might time. What's the reason? Misham Sini Usa, due to the Tznios, Misham Ezev Gam Yochanan, Bala Chachma Tanarabon, Misham Ezev Lezer Gin Sefer Torah, they hid the Sefer Torah, Misham Ezev Yeshua Bala Itza, there's no longer advice, Umachshava, and thoughts. The strong ones in Torah and the wellsprings of Chachma were plugged up. The Atara of Chachma was diminished. Atara's Chachma Ashram She'ateres Chachamim Ashram, the wealth of the wise men is their wreath that they wear. Because those learned bad meals when Gamliel was nifter, locusts came up, viravu, tzarais, and there are many tzarais. Mishameis Rabbi, Yochlu tzarais, even more tzarais. We continue, Mishameis Rabbi, Balan of years, Chet, Amr Lei, Rav Yisi Latana, Lo Titni Anava. Rav Yisi said to the Tana, do not say that humility stopped when Rabbi died. Why? Those famous words of Rav Yosef. Rav Yosef, the one saying there's still humility. Who? Hi. Doesn't sound quite humble. Don't say there's no more Yeras Chet because it still is I. Obviously, many pshatim, as Rashi says, what does it mean Dikanai? That I am the Anav. Many pshatim on this. And Baruch Hashem, Hadron Aloch Egla Rufa Slikalos Meseches Sotah. Baruch Hashem Zachinu to another incredible Masechta to be able to learn together. Shkoyach to everyone. Looking forward to Meseches Gittin B'siyata Dishmaya.